and get value off that. Now's a great time to start asking questions. By the way, Twitch chat, I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to be answering questions for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to bring up my little timer sheet. Like, this is what I use for cooking as well. It's our 20-minute timer. Let's get the questions rolling on the trot. We've got some coming in already, which is good. Oh. There you go. You're bouncing questions for a limited time, maybe focus on Tracer questions. Yes, that is the thing. How do you fight Tracer as a Reaper? Try and punish her whenever she blinks in close, otherwise it's not engagement you can actually win. When she blinks in, try and land a meat shot on her, otherwise just try and find somewhere to escape, try and find a health pack to get to, try and get to the rest of your team, someone who can deal with her. Simply because you will never be in a position, if she's playing it right, where your shotguns will deal enough damage for her to die. She will always sort of stay at that safe distance where she can just shell out damage. You know, take the opposite true is, like, if you're a Tracer, how do you kill a Reaper? Just never blink into him. Never, like, the only time you should blink into him is when you're looking for the finishing blow, and even that's kind of risky. Make sure that you're just juking around. When he reloads, punish the shit out of him and just blink forward and just drill him in the face and get the finishing blow. Correct pronunciation of a made-up word? Yeah, for some reason, I'm very good at this. I'm very good at getting sub-names right. We already answered that one. When is the correct time to pick Tracer over Soldier in the current meta? It's difficult. It depends on map. Honestly, I quite like her on, for example, Lijiang Tower. I think she's very good at King of the Hill in general. If you have a Zarya as well, it's very effective. Otherwise, like, on offense, it's definitely sort of more viable, but Soldier is just more damage and easier to get to work. I think, to me, the bigger question is, like, I've picked Tracer, when do I swap off to Soldier? And the answer is when you just aren't getting kills. Like, if nothing is dying, if the enemy team is staying too tightly knit, too close together, and nothing is really paying off, and if you don't have a Zarya to combo with, or you can't even build up enough ult charge to drop your bombs, that's when you swap off. Like, if it just feels like nothing is dying and the enemy Reinhardt is doing everything that he wants to and all that kind of stuff, that's a good sign that Tracer is not being effective, because the enemy team is just advancing on the 5 of the rest of your team, getting the kills and making it hard. That's when you will swap off the Tracer and say, okay, this is not working. I'm going to pick Soldier instead. I'm going to pick McCree instead, maybe even Reaper. But in current meta, Soldier will be the better pick, just because Soldier's kind of powerful at the moment. And yeah. Kind of answered that question, hopefully. So, you know, in the current meta, unfortunately, the optimal idea is you pick Soldier. But if you do want to run the Tracer, swap off the Tracer when deaths are not happening on the enemy team, and when you are just getting turned around on and focused on as well. And if they have, like, a McCree as well, for example, that's going to make life very hard for you. Does Anna's grenade still make Tracer purple when she recalls? No. It clears the debuff. Like every other debuff, Tracer will just clear it. So, honestly, and when a grenade lands on you, you should clear it instantly. You should just recall. Because you've taken 60 damage, so you're on 90 hit points. 90 hit points is enough for you to die to a lot of things in one hit, especially headshots. And it puts you low enough where any sudden burst is going to come in so quick that you just cannot react. Like, the thing with 150 hit points is you generally have enough time to react to some form of damage to either blink away or recall. When you have 100 health, you don't have that point. You will just take 100 damage and die. If ice cream was a flavor, what Tracer would it be? Excellent question. I'll think about Tracer's ice cream flavor. Tracer for stalling tactics. Blink away from targets as much as possible. Blink in and out of cover. Try and save your recall as long as you can, but don't take too many liberties. Just keep juking, especially on, like, Lijiang Garden, like, just blink around the middle. Don't be afraid to change direction every now and then and blink through people. It confuses people. You want to just be buying time, focus on survival, avoid death, and, like, probably you want to use your last blink, unless, like, the point is, like, you know, this close to being congested. Like, blink away, grab a health pack, and then come back, because you can afford to do that. Hey!
Here it is. Less than 3 everyone. You are the best.
You are the best, everyone. Little Pink Bowser with 3 months. Thank you so much. Sticking with us. Do your best Tracer impression. I need to drink some water first. What's your favorite Tracer skin? I like the posh skin, the white with gold, like, embellishments. I really like that Tracer skin. But don't worry, loves the cavalry's here. There we go. That's my Tracer impression. Do you have any good drills for improving Tracer aim? Not really. Like, tracking is less useful to do drills with. Just go and play in quick play with Tracer as much as you can, and use that as much as you can, because, and like I said, leading targets is definitely better than trying to follow behind them. Way better, works way better. So try and, like, be in front of targets and just think about what you're doing while you're doing the tracking. How can you judge your value as Tracer during a match? Some Tracers are successful at being Some tracers are successful at being, and I imagine like being annoying or being around, but don't get kills. Is that good play? Ideally, you should be getting kills. The hallmark that you will judge, if you're not getting kills but you're still winning, then sure, you might as well stay on tracer. If you're not getting kills and losing, that is a sign that you probably want to swap off. Even though the enemy, because what will be happening from your perspective is you'll be blinking around and like being a complete pain in the ass, blinking about, doing all sorts of stuff. But that's a sign that like all 5 of the enemy team, like I said, 5 or 6 of the enemy team, or even like 3 of the enemy team are turning around and just killing you, and then they're just turning back and killing everyone else. Like, you're not being enough of an annoyance to make yourselves win. So if you're winning and you're not getting kills, then okay, maybe you can get away with it. When you start losing, that's a sign that maybe something's going wrong here, because you should be able to get some kills on like Anna, for example, and your bombs, especially if the enemy team is distracted enough, you should be able to land enough pulse bombs on like the backs of Reinhardts, Divas, Roadhogs, that kind of thing. By the way, actually, this is a very good point. When you are learning Tracer, when you're practicing with her, do not be afraid, do not be ashamed to ever pulse bomb a tank. If the pulse bomb lands and does 400 damage, it is better than missing it trying to put it on an Anna who's juking like crazy. The way you land a pulse bomb on targets that aren't tanks and aren't big is you've got to blink right up to them, and then you just drop the pulse bomb on them and then blink away. You can honestly do the same on tanks as well, but you can be a little bit more sort of easygoing with it. Be very careful around divas. Just, do not ever feel ashamed about it. Just make sure that you then follow up and finish off the tank. Pulse bomb does 400 damage. You've got to follow up on it. Good target, by the way. And killing a Roadhog with it's never a bad idea, because you generally get a free pulse bomb when finding a Roadhog. So just drill Roadhog with headshots. Wait until he huffs his paint can. Drill in a few headshots. Pulse bomb him. Blink back. Shoot him a little bit more, and he'll die. Let's see. Any tips? Yeah, like I said, just play and quick play a lot. Think about what you're doing. Try and focus on I'm going to try and track as best as possible. Experiment around with it while you're playing. So just like see, how far in front do I really need to be? You want to just be on like the leading edge. So like, let's say I'm shooting at Tracer when she's in this very dynamic pose. You honestly want to have your crosshair about here when she's moving this way. Like you want to have your crosshair about here. That way that you're, making up for any movement she's doing going forward. And that will work way better than having your crosshair, say, back here. Way better. It's just how Overwatch's engine works in my experience. Can 6AmongstMany get a shout out? They want to start streaming within the next week. Go follow 6AmongstMany. Imagine that's like a stream being set up for the 6-stack. In which case, yeah, definitely go check them out. Yeah, successful at being annoying. Like I said, as long as you're winning, that's a sign that you're doing okay. When you start losing, then you might want to be swapping. Seen Tracers blink into the middle of teams to throw a bomb into the ground and recall out. Do you think this is effective or too risky? It's actually a big debate that was happening a while ago. I'm not actually sure if it's still going. Where Mendo Kusai, who's a fantastic Tracer player, an absolutely incredible Tracer player, used to say that pulse bombing the floor is better than pulse bombing in person, because when you pulse bomb the floor, it sows more confusion in the enemy team. When you pulse bomb a person, the person who's stuck just like the best thing to do when you get stuck is just stand still, because everyone else will just react to it and pull back. When you put it on the floor, it actually is more confusing as to where it is. Like, the icon doesn't quite track it as well. I think it's just because it's on the floor, so it's like it's trying to point to the ground, but then it gets caught on the edge of your screen and starts flailing around. And yeah, putting it in the middle of a team is fine if they are in a team fight and sort of locked in an engagement and can't really afford to juke. That's perfectly fine. And honestly, the reason why you do that and you drop a bomb on the floor as well is to avoid divas. So the bomb has less travel time, so it's less likely to get caught. That's the big reason why you drop the bomb on the floor. It's not a bad idea to do it, especially a good idea behind Reinhardts, because they have to make a choice of whether they drop the barrier or they keep the barrier up and try and turn. And that's just bad decisions all around for the Reinhardt. So it's not a bad idea to do it on them. But make sure that when you are doing that, you're blinking in fast and then blinking out fast. Like, they should not be able to see you coming. When I engage this Tracer, I have a hard time finding a good range. I either start shooting when I'm too far away and telegraph my location, and they turn around and put a shotgun in your face. What's the best distance to engage at? Does it depend on the target? It depends on the target. You sort of preempted the answer. So, like, let's take Mercy, for example. Mercy, you can run up to, you can nuzzle Mercy all you like. You can get right into Mercy, because what the fuck is she gonna do? She ain't gonna do anything. The most she can do is melee you. She has to, like, it takes a second to draw out the pistol and start shooting at you, and if she does that, you just run away. Mercy can't do anything to stop you. So you might as well just nuzzle right into Mercy. There's no threat there. With Reaper, you want to be staying at distances where the enemy just can't kill you. Basically, you want to be avoiding their effective distances. That's why McCree, Soldier 76 are so dangerous, because there is nowhere really safe for you to be. You just have to try and duke and out DPS them, which is hard to do. With McCree, the best advice I can give you is try and bait the flashbang. And when you bait the flashbang, then you want to maximize your DPS rather than trying to diminish his, because his is always better than yours. So then you blink in as fast as you can and try and just tunnel bullets into his body and kill him before he kills you. Bait the flash, kill. With Soldier, bait the rocket, kill. It's kind of doing the same thing, because there's no really safe for you, so you just want to be in a position where when you blink through them, so that they're going to be confused as to where you are, and they have to spend all that time turning around. Well, you already know to turn around because you've blinked through them. You're the one in control of that situation. But with Reaper, for example, just stay safely away, because there will be instances where you just blink towards Reaper and it'll just shoot you once and you'll die. Roadhog will do the same thing. You want to be at a distance where he has to land a right click to kill you. That's very hard to do. And also with Roadhog, you want to be trying to bait the hook as well, so just try and keep track of the hook in your mind, and then when he looks like he's going to throw it, and Roadhog's kind of predictable, then blink to the side and you should be able to dodge it. Who's best at keeping Tracer away from your healers? McCree is usually probably the best. Winston as well. If they have a really annoying Tracer, then Winston just denies it. Symmetra just makes it a nightmare as well. You can't engage in as hard when they have a Symmetra. But McCree is usually the go-to solution, just because, again, like I said, McCree has that zone of control around him, and you're going to be so busy dealing with the McCree that you can't focus on dealing with the healer. So then McCree can just rely on the healer to keep him alive, and then it just gets very hard to deal with. You have to kill the McCree basically before you can kill the healer, and if he's being healed by the healer, then you can't kill McCree. So what do? You struggle, basically. There's the resub. What here is Tracer worse against? Probably a Lucio. It's just hard to DPS through Lucio's healing, and when he's good at evading, you will have a hard time finishing him off. It also just makes it harder for you to kill things, because you are shelling damage into them and they're recovering at the same rate. Whereas with other healers, you can generally tunnel into them. Zenyatta is just dangerous because Zenyatta can kill you, but you can kill Zenyatta very quickly as well. So with Zenyatta, there's a risk associated, and Zenyatta's kind of frustrating, but you can just kill Zenyatta so fast, because Zenyatta's a square, and you just shoot his head, and his head's really easy to hit. You just what I recommend doing with Zenyatta, because again he's very effective at long range, blink to a distance where you can just blink through him, and then just blink towards him and get him low, wear him to about 100 hit points, blink into him, just tunnel into his face, and he should just explode. He'll sometimes land a couple of headshots on you and kill you, and that will just happen. That's just how that matchup goes. All the sub hype, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Tracer is Red Bull flavored. Not wrong. I'd say Tracer is something very sweet, like a very sweet vanilla. Are there any situations where you consider switching to Tracer mid-match? When I want to have fun, I like playing Tracer. If you have a Zarya and we're sort of pushing ahead, if they're playing a very grouped team comp as well, that would be a good idea. If they're not playing with a Zarya, that's also a good solution. If they have a Zarya, then your job gets harder, because you have to keep track of the enemy's barriers, because then she can just block you very effectively. But otherwise, just when the enemy team is able to just get picked apart, and when they don't seem to be able to handle evasive heroes very well. Also, just if the enemy team stays spread apart a lot, it just seems a good idea. But Tracer, you generally want to be picking at the start of the match anyway, and just starting out with that aggressive push, an aggressive team comp. Picking Tracer on defense, generally a bad idea, just in general. Just because she offers no defensive pressure. All Tracer's pressure comes from being in the backline, being annoying, and the way that you beat Tracer's pressure is by grouping up and making a unified push. So you're just sort of corralling the enemy team into doing a good thing anyway, which is not what you want to do. When people walk back into the team after getting stuck, because their reaction is to sort of walk backwards, again, the best thing to do is just stand still. They just panic, and that will happen less and less the higher you climb. Any drills in general, in quick play, most people are messing around. Yeah, you've just got to use quick play. Even though people are messing around, it's still good practice at trying to shoot people. It's still just shooting people, so it's the best practice you're going to get, and then just take it into ranked and see how it goes. Is Tracer a better pick for flanking purposes than Genji, or is it purely preference, map dependence? It's, like you said, preference and map dependent. Map dependent is the biggest thing. Genji is better on mats with lots of high ground. Tracer is better on mats where there's lots of cover to sort of dash behind very quickly and get in and out very quickly. Genji is better in sort of more open spaces with high ground mobility, because Tracer can't blink up. If she could, you'd be overpowered. But because Tracer, Hollywood Second Point, to me, is the classic example of where Genji just outclasses Tracer left, right, and center. you don't want to take Tracer on that map. But somewhere like Lijiang Control Center, Tracer is very, very good because there's lots of pathways you can take to get around it and circle around it. Genji might not necessarily be as good there. If he's getting stuck in the narrow corridors, for example, then he's going to be less useful. Tracer is just very good in those sorts of situations. Tracer's damage output in general is also higher than Genji's, so Tracer will kill more. It's just that Genji has a more team-wiping ultimate, basically. It's harder to get... team wipes off the back of a pulse bomb than it is to get team wipes off the back of a dragon blade. That's sort of the big difference between the two. How do you approach Soldier as Tracer? How much ammo does he use to kill you? He doesn't use much, is the answer. You approach Soldier as Tracer. I'll actually do this one from the other side because it's easier to explain how soldiers should be trying to handle the Tracer, which is you want to be whittling Tracer down with the machine gun as much as possible. So you just want to peck at her with the assault rifle, use burst fire, try and get her low and force her to recall. Count her blinks as you're fighting her, and then when she's recalled, that's when you're looking to get the kill. Again, keep an eye on the blinks. So after she's blinked immediately, it's very rare Tracer will use 2 blinks in a row and just land the rocket after she's done 1 blink. You can generally land it. Otherwise, if you're feeling patient, if you're feeling safe and you've got the heal field, you can afford to take your time a little bit and just keep her pushed back and then try and land the rocket after she's used all her resources and can't get out. When you're playing the Tracer, you sort of want to do the opposite, right? You want to keep track of your own blinks. The second you use recall, you probably want to be trying to get out of there. If he's standing on a heal field, don't engage. Just back away. Because he's healing for about 50 a second, I think, and that's very difficult for you to tunnel through before he can kill you. So bait out the heal field, back away, pick up some health, get all your resources back, come back, try and kill him then. And again, you want to get that very, very quick burst damage on him. The longer the fight goes, the better it goes for him, being frank. You want to just get in, shell some damage out, blink around, dodge, 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 blink in, burn, finish. That's how you try and do it. Best way to deal with Tracer is Zen. When your cries to help the team are going unanswered. PS, you were relentless in killing you the other day. That's the plan. When you're playing Zenyatta, you will have to deal with Tracers on your own. Just be aware that the Tracer's going to be going for you first. Try and always put the Orb of Discord on Tracer and then just aim head height and just keep firing head height. That's the only thing you can really try and do and hope that because if she takes one on headshot, she dies. Especially with an Orb of Discord, it's just instant death. So it makes the Tracer sort of scared to fight you. Just be prepared to deal with it. Try and tuck into the team a little bit more as much as you can. Stick around with McCree's. Hang around Reinhardt if you can as well, because the Tracer is just pushing you closer and closer to him. And that means if Tracer's trying to blink in to finish you off, then you have another person there to try and deal some damage. Is it better to help your team on the front line rather than flanking for the enemy squishies? If you want to help your team on the front line, why have you picked Tracer? That's my answer to that question. If you want to help your team on the front line, you pick McCree, you pick Soldier, you don't pick Tracer. You pick Tracer to be annoying on the side and go in on the back line and kill the back line. Otherwise, you're much better picking something else. If Tracer's on the front line, something's going wrong. Genji can actually kind of be on the front line because Genji can dash in from the front line very reliably and deal a lot of damage by just going straight through the enemy team. Tracer can't afford to do that. If you go through the enemy team, you're just going to explode. And honestly, Genji should only be doing that anyway when there's like a chance to confirm the kill. And Genji's more poke, 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 kill. Tracer's more like go in, kill, back out, go in, kill, back out. Tracer's going to be killing more regularly while Genji's building up to a Dragon Blade, then killing everyone. That's how I sort of separate the two heroes in my mind. You should be getting kills more routinely as Tracer once the team fight has started and poking around doing damage. Zarya stuck with the pulse bomb. Zarya shields. Will people around Zarya get damaged? I don't think so. I think the pulse bomb gets contained by it, but I'm not 100% sure. Just in general, avoid pulse bombing Zaryas. Keep track of the barrier as well. Like, when she's used the barrier, don't be afraid to stick her after that. It's actually a very good use of a pulse bomb because it kills her, which is what you want. What's the way to get rid of this pest? Covered it earlier. McCree, Winston, Symmetra, all very good at it. What flavor steak sauce with Tracer B? I actually don't put sauce on my steaks. I don't believe in sourcing steaks, so none. Actually, Tracer's a bit low class, so she's probably actually like ketchup on a well-done steak. Even if we're 6 now, can we send in footage for individual review when you ignore the team focus on single player performance? Yep, absolutely. I will talk about 6-stacking though if you are in a 6-stack and talk about the control you have. In about 1 minute, best Tracer voice line. I'm a big fan of Keep Calm and Tracer on. Otherwise, honestly, yeah, I think we just kind of run out of question time. Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? But Tracer's like Cockney. She's low class. And yeah, that about wraps it up, and I think that's a good point to wrap up on. Okay, and yeah. So if you do want to send stuff in, you can see someone already did it, but I'm going to type it again just in case. So if you do want to send in footage for review and send in some, I'd like some more DPS footage as well, especially like damage dealers. I've got a couple sent in now, and someone sent in like some Widowmaker footage for review. We might do that early next week. I think that was you, Arkatanor, is that your name? Can't remember off by heart. Sorry, I apologize. But if you do want to send stuff in, send it to oamreviews@gmail.com. Put the hero name and the rank that it is played at in the title. And if you're a Twitch subscriber as well, a Twitch subscriber, not a YouTube subscriber. Some people say, yeah, I'm subbed to YouTube. Thanks. It's appreciated, don't get me wrong, but it's not kind of the same thing. Yeah, it was you. Arkathor, that's you. So you sent some stuff in. Good. And yeah, put in the main body of text, put a link to a YouTube video of you playing the game. Unfortunately, there's no replay feature in the game. When that does come in, I would love to accept replays because it would be amazing, but I'll just have to take YouTube videos. If you don't know how to record stuff, there's plenty of guides online. If you've got a NVIDIA card, Shadowplay is very good. Otherwise, OBS is pretty good for it. I apologize. I can't help you really work that out for yourself. You're going to have to go and figure it out. And yeah, send that in. And send it in as much as you can. And people ask me, like, yeah, are you going to do coaching the many on this? I'm going to do coaching the many on everything. Like, I will cover as many things as I can cover. I will keep covering stuff and covering. So send it in. Just send it in. Worst thing that can happen is it doesn't get used, which does happen. Like, every time I do a coaching the many show, I get about 5 videos sent in. But don't be discouraged. Like, if it's a good video and I haven't covered it like very recently as well, it's very likely it's going to get picked. And even if I don't cover it that week, I will go back and, like, I look every week through my entire list of submissions and find stuff. Coaching the many Bastion. I will do coaching the many on Bastion. I would love to do coaching the many on Bastion. Comment mercy when? I'll get back to you on that one. Otherwise, yeah. See you, YouTube. Thanks for watching to the end. And toodles.